What is happening, everybody? This is Dave Croft, and welcome back to another Q review where I feature a Q written by a member of the 52 Qs community and provide feedback like you might hear from a music supervisor or a potential library. And today we are checking out Vanishing Rainfall from Gesteland. This was submitted during our week 37 weekly feedback threads. And this is an emotional piano and string cue. So we are going to take a listen to it and then we will talk about it on the other side. All right, that was Vanishing Rain from Gesteland. Reed, thank you so much for sending this along. Really nice piano work here. I actually enjoyed this piano work, and I like how kind of intimate and close it is. There were a couple of resonances popping out just every now and then. I think we need to be careful. Some of these notes, we can see they're almost 9 dB over unity here. So let's just be careful. Probably just need to tamp down a little bit. So I thought this was working really well. I also like how we kind of slowly build up the cue over. We have a nice chunky edit point, and then we go down into almost like a coda of some kind of sound like this. Bringing in the arpeggiated piano part, it feels a little detached. And I wonder if it's a sustain pedal thing. Yeah, I would just maybe go in and write in that pedal part and the sustain pedal. It just feels that the left hand of the piano feels a little. Some of the notes, I think the sustain pedal can help kind of blend things in. I got to tell you, it takes a pretty hard right turn here when the strings come in. And my recommendation would be to take this the arpeggiated piano part back. I would actually add it here in the second phrase. Do do boom 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 boom. I would bring it here, and then you bring in some sustained strings a little bit later. I would introduce some sustained strings earlier so that we're not waiting 40 seconds or so into the cue before we really hear stringed instruments. And so I would bring that in a phrase early, because it does take a pretty hard turn here. Now, if you are introducing such an increase of rhythmic energy, I think we should probably put a little bit of a break before it. And so your edit point, I would add another edit point. I would probably do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete this guy, and I'm going to stretch this just so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. I mean, it's not going to sound perfect, but it'll give you an idea of how this is going to create a float. So when you bring all of this rhythmic energy, we're kind of prepared for it. Yeah, again, the edit isn't the cleanest edit in the world, but I think it's enough to kind of give you an idea of what we could do with that. Let's see if I can't. Yeah, I think that works a little bit better. Now, that having been said, we go from like boom, boom, to N3 and 4 into. Now, I'm not sure if this is delays. I feel like the rhythmic shift here is pretty extreme. I'm going to undo my little edit here. I feel like the rhythmic shift is a little extreme. I think you could do with just one dun 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 bum bum, that rhythm instead of going into all the 16ths. Love the overarching string melody here. I think it's really, really working for me. By the way, the strings here, the reverb, I feel like we're losing some of the definition of all the rhythmic parts in the ostinato. It's just feeling a little mushy. Yeah, I really like this. I like that string part. That's nice. I would be careful. We're starting to get a little loud, pushing into some short-turn luffs, which are pretty loud. And I feel like we could maybe a suspended cymbal roll or something. Not too much, but this felt a little too drawn out. And then so hit that right there and let that downbeat kind of start pulling the energy back. Feels like it was sustained a little too much. And then I think you can give it another just a couple of beats to extend that, because I like the return, this coda moment. Sustained strings, bring them down, because now it's time for the piano to return, right? And so the strings, which started out as accompanying figures, become the main attraction here in the middle. And then when we return to the piano being the primary driver, then the strings take a back seat again. Nice button, really, really nice button. And then the last thing I'll say is I feel like we have kind of an overarching lack of anything much below 80 hertz or 70 hertz, or even when nothing really in the sub frequencies, which is understandable. It's really hard to coax, 30, 40, and 50 hertz out of an orchestral double bass, which is why I would put a low, soft sine wave underneath to really help. And I can kind of show you what I mean here. I am going to load in a bass that I have that I call orchestral sub, and all this is a Logic sampler patch with nothing loaded into it. So you get this sound here. So if we back this up here. Go down. So you really get that heft from this. Whereas without it, just feels a little thin. Yeah, and I think it can go a real long way, and it could just take a sine wave down the octave. This is a trick that that I learned watching a Christian Henson video. And he talks about adding an orchestral or a sub bass, a sub frequency sine wave way low, just to get the low end from these. But Reed, really nice work. As I mentioned, this was sent along during our week 37 weekly feedback thread, and we put weekly feedback threads together every single week. And why don't you join us over at 52 Qs? We'd love to have you. It is free to join, and right now we are getting Qs for week 38, and I will be choosing one of those Qs to feature next week. And if you found that feedback helpful and you would like video feedback on your own Qs, regardless of the community or whatever, then head over to 52qs.com/coaching, where you can order up your very own feedback video, where I look at everything from the mix, the master, the structure, harmonic language, title, and all of that. By the way, I think your title is great, Reed. So again, head over to 52qs.com/coaching. And while you're there, you can check out my other coaching services, such as one-on-one Zoom sessions, and you can sign up to be on the waiting list for our upcoming winter mastermind, which starts in January. But that is going to do it for me. As always, a huge word of thanks to the family, friends, and patron subscribers who really keep all of this going. But that's going to do it for me. Until next time, peace.